Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Oji.
Good morning,
Thank God it's Friday.
TGIF, guys. Good morning, Tundu. You look lovely.
So do you.
I like your hair like this always.
Thank you.
Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Doing well.
Doing well. You're doing well.
Thank God it's Friday.
Take charge.
All right. Well, good morning to you viewers. Here are some of the highlights of what's trending across the globe. Russian President Vladimir Putin reacts to Joe Biden's killer comment, stating it takes one to know one. And in an unprecedented move in diplomatic history, the Kremlin invited the U.S. president for an online discussion. In the United States, protesters across the country took to the streets to march against the surge in anti-Asian violence. In the United Kingdom, TV host Piers Morgan has found another enemy. In a recent tweet, the broadcast journalist called out CBS's Gayle King for being Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's PR mouthpiece. The European Medicine Agency has confirmed that the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is safe and effective, dousing the fear sparked amongst many. In Nigeria, social media is abuzz after the First Lady, Aisha Buhari, has reportedly returned to the country after over 5 months of absence. In Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan has made history as the first female president of the country following the death of President John Magufuli. Finally, under entertainment, controversial reports of multiple award-winning rapper Kanye West being the richest black man in the United States with a net worth of $6.6 billion have been debunked by Forbes, which estimates he is worth less than a third of the figure, or $1.8 billion.
Let's get lost tonight. You could be my black Kate Moss tonight. Play secretary on the boss tonight.
1.8 billion is still a lot of money, Tundu.
It's a nice chunk of change.
Yes, I know. Well, let's begin what's trending today in Nigeria. Yoruba activist Sunday Igboho, in a now viral video, has declared a Yoruba nation. He made the declaration during a conference in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, insisting that it was time the Yoruba became a sovereign nation. With the declaration, the activist called on Yoruba people in other territories to return home before war breaks out. He also called on all traditional rulers in Yoruba land to support the movement in order to free the Southwest from slavery. This is reoccurring. It's like every week we find a new activist calling for their own nation. I remember we talked about this and you offered a solution, whether it is a federation or some sort, maybe. I don't know what your thoughts are on this case, but I feel like it's just, again, what we're facing in Nigeria.
Yeah, another day, another declaration. Yes. He's actually come into the limelight, as it were, quite suddenly because of his clamoring about security in the Southwest, the insecurity that we're facing here in the Southwest. And this is the solution that he has proffered. Everybody should just go their separate ways. Because at this point, if it's every man for himself, because leaders from all over the country have called on people to start to arm themselves. And scandalously, even government officials have said, you'll recall, the Minister of Defense saying that people were cowards for not attacking the bandits. So if it's every man for himself, it might as well just become every region for itself. This is the ridiculous point that we have gotten to here because this unitary system simply is not working. We must restructure now. And we discussed this recently. You brought the story about Asari Dokubo making his own declaration about the Biafra customary government, which was dismissed, laughed out of the room, basically, by the Minister for Information and Alhaji Lai Mohammed. But if the government decides to take this approach with Sunday Adeyemo, great for him. If they decide to take the approach that they did with Omoyele Sowore, who you will recall did not even ask for any kind of a nation. He was trying to protest about the economy, security, free education, and they slammed treason charges on him. You'll recall he was held for a year, granted bail, rearrested. His travels continue till today. We discussed recently when he went for his last court appearance with a controversially dressed gentleman by his side. So the Nigerian government will wait to see how they respond to this particular latest call. And I do hope that beyond all of this, we see the importance, the necessity at this point, right now, to restructure this country once and for all.
Well said, Tundu.
Well, I think this is frightening. It's an indication of the strife, the division, the problem with Nigeria. Non-state actors like Sunday Igboho, like Asari Dokubo, like Nnamdi Kanu, and so on, have become the new intellectuals of the Nigerian community. And the rhetoric that comes from many of these non-state actors is a rhetoric of division, it's a rhetoric of violence, it's a rhetoric of confrontation. And we need to remind those who go to the extreme point, even in asking for justice, even in asking for equity within the Nigerian arrangement, that the Constitution of Nigeria says that Nigeria shall be one indivisible entity. And it is on the basis of that that the government clamps down on anybody who talks about secession. Now, before now, if you look at the rhetoric coming from the Southwest, not too many of the groups. You have the Yoruba Elders Council, you have the Refinery, you have the Yoruba World Congress, you have the Omo group. Not many of those groups, have been talking about secession of the Yorubas. The message, the ideological message has been one of restructuring from Afenifere and also one of self-determination within the Nigerian arrangement. But Igboho, in the videos that have been circulating, has been talking about secession, has been talking about the declaration of the Oduduwa, of the Republic of Oduduwa. Now, I don't know the intellectual wing that is behind that, but one or two videos that he has released or that he has been involved in recently could, in my own estimation, be considered frightening. In one video, he's alleged to have said that if any politician in the Southwest decides to campaign or seek office in 2023, that the security of such persons cannot be guaranteed. In this second video, the one that you have shown, he says very clearly that Yorubas are tired of the Nigerian arrangement. Enough is enough. That, his group will reopen any border that is closed. And he called on Yorubas to unite. And he went further to say every Yoruba man that is in the north should return home.
Yes. Because
now it is time to confront these people. And he was talking about the Fulanis occupying major institutions in the Southwest. The ports. Yeah. He mentioned the ports particularly. The airports, the seaports, Tinkan Line and Apapa Port. Now, in a federation, in a country like this, that could be something that could generate a lot of tension. And already a group, Arewa Youth Assembly, also issued a statement with a spokesperson of that group saying, yes, Sunday Igboho says Fulanis should leave the Southwest and that Yorubas should leave the North. So that group also within the last 24 hours has said every Yoruba man should leave the North. And they are even calling on the security agencies to support them to get Yoruba people in the northern part of the country out of the place. So what is this? What it means is that Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Across the country, you have this rhetoric of division. And I think it's unfortunate that we have reached such a level. And that is why the government of the day must take public opinion seriously. You can't discount the agitation from all of these people. We had a 2014 National Political Conference. We have had several conferences in the past. All of that was being ignored. We have seen the urgency of dialogue.
Right.
We have seen the urgency of the need to take a second look at the Nigerian arrangement. We have seen a very serious need to look at the meaning, whether or not we have a nation and what it means to be a Nigerian.
Well said, Dr. Abati. Rufai, your take on this story.
This reminds me of Benjamin Disraeli's book, former British Prime Minister. He was also an author. The book is called Sibyl, or Two Nations. In that book, there were two nations, the nations of those that have and those that don't have. And that is what is playing out here. There are agitations by people that the country is not working for. And the people that it is working for are looking at them and saying, what are you talking about? And it's a very sad place to be. In the space of 1 week, 2 declarations. We've got Asari Dokubo, he said this on his own part. We've got Sunday Igboho saying this now. Government should be responsive to the agitations. We should listen to people across board and try to fix whatever might be the problems, and not to appear to take sides, because it's our nation and it is one nation we have. But truth and justice and fairness makes a nation. The insecurity challenges that have brought all of this to the front burner should be addressed forthwith. Because if we don't do that, then we are sitting, I'll quote Dr. Bati now, on a keg of gunpowder mixed with dynamite. It is sad. And I'll tell you what leaders do. In the 70s, Canada too had this agitation. There were a group of people called the Front de Libération de Québec, fighting for the independence of Quebec. Where kidnappings, were harassing people and all of that. The Quebecans supported them, the Quebecois. But guess what? There was also a leader called Elliott Trudeau that stood tall and said, we must change the country. He brought about what is called the Victorian Charter that led to the Constitutional Act of 1982 in Canada, that brought about bilingualism and a lot of restructuring in the Canadian system to douse the tension. Today, Elliott Trudeau is still remembered to be the father of unity in Canada because he took a stand. Leadership should take a stand, listen to the voice of those agitating, and try to rein people in and bring unity back. It is in times of crisis you know who a true leader is. Winston Churchill was celebrated because of how he stood tall during the Second World War. This is the time for the Nigerian leadership to stand twice as tall to unite this country.
Thank you, Rufai. We're going to go on a short break now. And when we come back, What's Trending on the Morning Show will continue. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Morning Show. We're still on What's Trending. We'll take another story. Reports reaching us indicate that some medical staff at an approved COVID-19 vaccination center located at the Falomo Hospital are allegedly subverting the outlined process of vaccination by collecting bribe from individuals, especially Indians. The report, which described the vaccine center as a cesspool of corruption, was said to be purposely disorganized so as to enable their illicit activities, as every worker had their own client who they gave preferential treatment. The report also indicates that over 25 Indians got vaccinated through the back channel. In the meantime, while every state in the country has received supplies of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine, Kogi State remains the only state that is yet to receive its delivery. Rufai, I think this is such an important story. I'd love your comment on this.
This is such a very important story, and the report is out there, and we're looking at it. It's quite very sad. Somebody that went to take the vaccine yesterday got out there and discovered that what they were doing was people had touts that would wait outside, and in Falomo here. So I think I'll go to Falomo here to go and see things for myself very soon. People had touts that will wait out. Then you talk to your touts, they will book you. Others that are on the queue, they will never call them. They'll tell them it's not their turn yet. Then they will pack themselves inside through the back door, come and take the vaccine while people are sitting there. Names were mentioned in Falomo here. And it's quite sad. On top of COVID, must we be corrupt about everything in this country? Must we? This one is not a case of government. It's just people that are giving vaccine that are doing racketeering and arranging themselves. And that's why when I'm done for me, I will go to Falomo there and go and sit down there and see things for myself. So if you are doing it in Falomo, you are watching us now, you better stop.
Good. Because we're like an update on that once you get there.
What we're dealing with clearly is corruption.
Yes.
And we've had corruption with the procurement process in parts of Africa and other parts of the world. And it's important that in the immunization process, we must insist on accountability. Now, the Falomo example that has been cited is a wake-up call for the Lagos state government, as it is for other state governments, to realize that the process can be corrupted. In Lagos, as I pointed out earlier, the program is supposed to be in 4 phases, but nobody is following in 4 phases. A lot of people do not fall into phase one are already going there, and they are clogging up the queues. Now, when the MPCACDA director, Faisal Shuaib, made a presentation in Abuja yesterday, he talked about getting even the ICPC to ensure security, and accountability. And at the time the rollout started, we were told that vaccine accountability officers will be deployed from the federal government across the country. Where are those vaccine accountability officers whose responsibility is to monitor the process?
Yes, Tundu, a quick
Hence the importance of the story.
Yes.
We really need to highlight it and draw attention to it. And the fact is that no Indian will give you Nigerians any kind of preferential treatment in their own country.
Thank you for that.
And here we are betraying our own in this really disgraceful fashion.
Very valid point.
Good point.
We'll take another story. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has faulted the Federal Executive Council's approval of $1.5 billion for the rehabilitation of Port Harcourt Refinery in Rivers State. The former president, while reacting via Twitter, wrote that renovation was suspicious, to say the least, noting that Shell Petroleum Development Company last year sold its Martinez refinery in America, which is of a similar size to the Port Harcourt refinery, for $1.2 billion. He added that the refinery is more profitable than the one in Port Harcourt. The approval for the renovation comes amidst the controversial price increase in pump price of petrol that was later revised. Although Nigeria has 4 refineries, all government-owned, it currently imports virtually all of its refined petroleum products. This is such a controversial story. Yesterday I read from Dilo Malaya saying it is outrageous. I mean, it just goes to show that the government is either they're not consulting people, because apparently the refinery is less than the amount of money, or it costs less to even just close the refinery than to renovate it at that point. They call it like it's not a working refinery.
Well, yesterday morning, Reuters brought this story, and my point was, why throw good money after bad?
Yes.
It makes no sense. Last year, we all congratulated NNPC for releasing their audited report, and that report said that 3 refineries, including this Port Harcourt refinery, which is supposed to be 120 barrel per day capacity, had lost 1.6 trillion naira over the past 5 years. They should just be privatized and let's move on. There's no need to rehabilitate them before privatizing them. It's just a total waste of money. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense.
If you recall, Dr. Abati, if that's correct, in 2007, I believe there was, under the Obasanjo administration, there was that conversation or the controversy that Dangote and Femi Otedola had bought the Kaduna and the Port Harcourt refinery, but then later found out that the price was not what it was sold for, if you remember that.
Well, these refineries have not functioned for years because we've not done the turnaround maintenance because of the crisis of corruption, the opaqueness within the Nigerian system. The informed opinion by many persons in the oil and gas sector is that, in fact, these refineries should be sold as scrap. But I know that Mankati Baru, when he took over as group managing director of the NNPC, was talking about getting the refineries to work. And Timi Presiva, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, has also been saying the same thing. But look, you don't need to just say because you have made that promise, you must keep it. Because according to the report that Tundu referred to, the audit report of July 2020, these refineries were not adding any value.
Nope.
And they are of no use. In fact, if you say you want to rehabilitate them, it's like just wasting money.
Yeah.
At a time when we're looking for vaccines, at a time when some countries have ×5 the amount of vaccine doses that they need, and we need just about 400 billion, you want to go and throw away about 700 billion.
700
because
billion?
there's no guarantee that even if they are rehabilitated, anything would come out of it. Now, the emphasis that we have been told previously is that the Dangote refinery that is coming up will be producing about 650,000 barrels per day. And everybody has been looking forward to that. There's also Bua refinery, right, that is also in the works. There's also the federal government project on modular refineries. And last year, I think they licensed up to about 16 modular refineries. And there's also a plan to bring artisanal refineries into the mainstream. Now, why don't we focus on that? Why just waste money knowing that the refineries have not been serving any purpose? So I think that Atiku Abubakar, former vice president of Nigeria, is right in terms of his objection. And he's not the only one.
Yes,
and in his own case, people should listen to the message rather than the messenger. Because I've seen a lot of people saying, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is playing politics. No, this is not about politics. It's about the facts. It's about the reality.
Yes.
It's about wastefulness. And I don't think that with the problem we have with deficit in the economy and all of that, it is a wise decision to go and put money on a refinery that even if it starts working again, nobody will maintain it and it will run at a loss in typical Nigerian fashion. However, what they will say is that, well, after all, PDP was in government. What did he do with it? That's why I say, okay, whatever it is, just sell the refineries as scrap.
Well said. You just reminded me of Malcolm X saying that I tried to point the way, they were looking at my finger. It doesn't matter who's giving the message.
Rufai, comment from you.
It is sad that it's only in Nigeria that we want to pump money to something that has made losses in the last 10 years. You know what we're trying to do with that money? We're trying to take money like this and put fire and be burning it. We should support private companies to set up refineries. There's no big deal. People are fabricating modular refineries. Set it up. Encourage them. 1.5 billion, we can use it to even set up Institute of Research on how to make refineries in Nigeria. And give ourselves a target. In the next 15, 30 years, we should start fabricating modular refineries too in this country and create jobs for people. We can invest that money in Federal University of Petroleum in Ogromo and PTI so that their welders can start fabricating modular refineries. We can do a lot with that money. But we want to go and waste it in a venture that has not worked in 10 years. We brought out the NNPC report recently of the health financial situation of the refineries. We saw we're making losses. Everybody was shouting, Is that thing we still want to go and put money inside again?
Terrible. Well, I'm not sure we have time to take our final story, if we can.
Well, I think you still have like a minute.
All right. We'll take our final story. And, well, we don't have time. You guys have a great weekend.
You too, Enjoy
your weekend.
I will.
Have fun.
Yes, I will.